What is that? What kind of introduction is that? Went from bland to bad. That's the range. I just wanted to come on here and say, yo, I miss my emotional support billionaire. I wish I was here to talk about Succession, but sadly I'm not. I have been wanting to come back for the longest time now, but I was like, I don't have anything to talk trash about. So, everyone, round of applause for Ridley Scott for making this god-awful monstrosity of a movie. So I have a reason to return. Where to start, honestly? I mean, I was like, what's the point? Everyone has already talked trash about this movie. Everyone has already made the point that it's bad. So what else do I have to add to this? Well, it was honestly such an experience from the beginning. It had me hooked. Honestly, I kind of enjoyed watching this movie, I'm not gonna lie, just because it was so damn funny at times. I swear to God, I was watching it and so many things were going through my mind, but mostly, what are we doing? And why are we doing it? I honestly don't know why I watched this. I think I wanted to see for myself. Mostly because people were talking about the inaccuracies, and at this point I feel like Ridley Scott has just given up. I think he just doesn't give a crap anymore, and like, you know, power to him. He just does not care. And another thing that I was thinking, I don't think he actually watched this movie himself. Let him sit down, show him the scene with the CGI demon monkeys, and ask his opinion on it. Ask him if he thinks that's a good scene. I swear to you, this man did not watch his own movie. I don't even know if he was involved. I honestly don't know what happened. Honestly, when was the last time Ridley Scott made a good movie? I think that was probably... I mean, I haven't watched all of his recent movies, or just all of his movies altogether. I'm gonna be honest there, but I mean, he made some pretty good movies back in the day. When was his last good movie? The Last Duel? I enjoyed The Last Duel. A lot of people didn't. It apparently didn't make a lot of money. According to him, people just don't watch those kind of movies anymore. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe, light spoilers, it's the fact that he incorporated... What's the guy from Star Wars? I always keep forgetting his name. The dude from Star Wars. He incorporated his POV, which was entirely unnecessary and kind of ruined the movie. But and that made it also too long. It was too long, and it was that entire POV of his was entirely unnecessary and just bad. Just so maybe if he would have taken that out, it would have done better. But that's just my humble opinion. Adam Driver. I always forget his name. But Adam Driver in the movie does some fucked up shit, and then they're like, you know what? We really need his POV of what happened, even though who the hell wanted that? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, Gladiator 2. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. It's ridiculous. It's just stupid. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Gladiator. I'm not saying the original Gladiator is like the best movie of all time. I mean, objectively speaking, it's a good movie. It's well made. It's, you know, it ticks off all the boxes. It has good cinematography. It has great music, even though Hans Zimmer is doing basically a rendition of Pirates of the Caribbean. Or you can argue that Pirates of the Caribbean is a rendition of the Gladiator soundtrack. But I feel like I'm also always talking about... Sometimes Hans Zimmer just does the same soundtrack over and over again. But besides the point, Gladiator is a well-made movie. Easy is a little cheesy, predictable, cliche at times. Yeah, sure, okay. But at least there's effort put into it. It's an objectively good movie, and I enjoy it. Compared to the first one, Gladiator 2 really is trash with famous people and a large budget, even though you wouldn't even say that because it also looked pretty bad. But we'll get to that. Paul Mescal's character is as interesting as an uncooked noodle. In this one, everyone came to collect their paycheck, and they were probably just as confused as we are as to why this movie was happening, to be honest. It was just so bland. Everything was so bland, except for the like really weird, except for the things that were just bad. It went from bland to bad. That's the range. Let's just start with the beginning, because the movie started and I already knew what I was in for. So we start off and you have this scene of Paul Mescal in his at home with his wife, and he's feeding the chickens, and there's this I have to fucking laugh thinking about it, but there's this scene, there's this slow-mo shot of him shooing away the chicken just flies off, and he's like, and I cackled. What is that? What kind of introduction is that? He's like, I knew we were in for a wild ride, and I was already kind of excited about it. Great introduction for our hero. Love it already. Yeah, and then they have to have motivation for his character, and they do that by fridging his wife. So she gets killed in the first half hour of the movie, but she gets killed in battle. So I was like, I mean, first of all, I did not care because we got like 5 minutes with him, and I got more from him and the chicken than from him and the wife. I was like, if that chicken dies, I would be more upset. I'm also not a fan of fridging the wives, you know. It's like, in this day and age, you couldn't have done any better. Like, we don't know anything about this woman or their relationship, and I also don't care. And then she also dies in battle, so it's like, I was also confused because I was like, who is the villain? Who are the villains in this movie? Because at some point, everyone is a villain. So we start off and Pedro Pascal orders her to be killed, but like in battle, because she's also killing his men. So it's all like, well, yeah, that happens, you know. That doesn't make him bad or anything. And then I guess that's the motivation for Paul Mescal to want to kill Pedro Pascal. Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal. Am I pronouncing this right? Anyway, so I was like, is it necessary to fridge the wife? Couldn't they have just had him be... Because then he gets transported to Rome as a slave and he has to fight in the Colosseum. Isn't that already motivation enough? It's like, I mean, I would be pissed about that. I don't know about you all, but that would be motivation enough for me, to be honest. Or like, have his family stay behind and he wants to somehow win so he can come back to him. I don't know, but this didn't do anything for me. And then she also washes up on the shore, so she gets killed, so she falls into the sea. Then he falls into the sea. Then he washes up. And then he finds her, which supposedly like hundreds of people died and they all fell in the sea. And then she washes up at the same time as, like, he immediately finds her. It's like, what are we doing? Like, I sometimes can't find something in my room, and my room is like this tiny. Imagine a sea with hundreds of people who have died and they all wash up, and you find... It's just, I don't know, is this nitpicking at this point? It's just, it was so stupid. Anyway, so then he gets captured and they take him to Rome to fight in the Colosseum. And there's this whole thing about... There's this whole thing about him being rageful, and he's full of rage because... I mean, I don't know what his problem is, honestly.
I'm in a rage!
He's rageful, I guess, because his wife died, but at the same, or like because he's a prisoner now, which is valid, but at the same time, they kept talking. That's the one thing they kept saying about him, probably because he has no character or personality, so they had to think of something, and they were like, he's rageful, he has all this rage inside him. And I was thinking like, yeah, okay, but I mean, put me in the grocery store at like 6 o'clock in the evening, closing time, with like a bunch of people around me, and I will have that same rage. Like, I will also fight some people. Put me in the Colosseum after that and I will kill someone. I was like, what's my point exactly? My point is that I did not get this whole thing. And then we get to the CGI demon monkeys, werewolves. Something was up with them. And I was like, I kid you not, I sat there watching the scene like, floored, astounded that this was what we were doing. Gladiator 2. I assume a huge budget. Famous actors. Ridley Scott directing this. And we get CGI demon monkeys. That looked horrible. At no point during the scene did I feel as if Paul Mescal's character was actually fighting something. It was just pure insanity. Who made this decision? Who thought, you know what we need? You know what this movie is missing? Demon monkeys. On crack. It was funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie, it was funny. But it was not good. Anyway, and then he bites one of the CGI monkeys because he's in a rage, you know, he has issues. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that looks fake as hell, but I guess he has issues. And I mean, that, and then the one funny line I think out of the entire movie was like some guy saying, watch out for him, he eats monkeys. I was like, yeah. Gladiator 2. Anyway, at some point the dude from Spartacus shows up, so and I realized that Gladiator 2 did not need to happen because we already had Gladiator 2. It's the Spartacus series, which I would have preferred to have watched instead of this movie, even though this was very funny. Yeah, the dude from Spartacus showed up, and I realized what a better show that is. If you haven't checked it out, really do. And the weird thing is, Spartacus also has like horrible looking CGI, but they have like 1/10 of the budget, first of all. Second of all, it's not the point. The point is kind of to make it look bad. That's kind of the thing. It's kind of following that like 300 trend, I think, of like over the top CGI blood and stuff, looking really fake and stupid. But the story is so good. The story is good. The characters are good. It really is the superior version, which is insane. There are no real motivations, no real stakes to this movie. And also everything looks so bland and just horrible. Also in the first one, everything looks so... The scale is so huge of that movie. It's so ambitious. It's so... Everything feels lived in. In this, everything just looked like green screen. They were just standing in front of a green screen, fighting some CGI demon monkey, and you're like, what am I watching? I don't know, my notes kind of end there because I think I gave up at that point. What else happened, honestly? And then they also do this thing where Paul Mescal is like, his character is like the son of Maximus in the first movie, and it's so stupid and literally makes no sense, and it takes away from the original movie because it doesn't need to happen. He like treated him as a son even though he wasn't his son, you know. And in this movie, I guess he's his son for some reason. All of a sudden they changed the canon because, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why they did anything. At some point, oh yeah, the sharks, yeah. The sharks were underwhelming. They only ate like 2 guys. They were honestly barely there. They were all on a boat. It didn't seem real. It didn't feel like anyone was fighting anyone. And also, like, it's so weird because in the first movie, everyone was like in awe of this of Russell Crowe's character because he was the leader and a great fighter. And also, from the first time he stood, not the very first time, but the first time I think he was in the Colosseum with the other enslaved people, he was like, follow me and like you'll get to live. So that's why they were also like on his side, because he was not just some guy fighting. He was like, if you listen to me, we will all make it out of here. And they were like, yeah, cool, thanks, finally someone who gives a shit about us too. And in this, he was just like, none of that, he just killed them. And then all of a sudden they were like, yes, we will follow you, you're so great. Why would they care about this guy? It made no sense. And then at the end, I guess it's revealed that Denzel Washington was the villain all along. And I was like, how many villains are there in this movie? It's hard to keep track of. And they also they're all as bland as flour. And then for some dumb reason he picks a fight with him, with Paul Mescal's character, and it's like, are you an idiot? Why would you do that? Of course you're gonna get killed. And then his hand gets chopped off and it's all very bad CGI, and I laughed a lot, which I probably shouldn't have. But I was just so dumb at that point. I was like, what are we doing? Oh, everyone was spitting a lot. That's what I also remember. They were like, you know how we're going to trick the audience into thinking this is a serious movie? We're all going to be spitting, even though there's no reason to spit. We're all going to be spitting. It was like that one Friends scene where Gary Oldman was like spitting on Joey because that makes you a real actor, you know. And also one of my personal pet peeves. So one of the reasons I did not actually really want to be an actor anymore, because I didn't want anyone to spit on me. I'm sorry. I'm not into that. Just stop it, get some help. Yeah, God bless, this was not good. God bless this mess. It did make me come back to YouTube to talk about it. I don't think I'm saying anything that other people haven't said already, but I still wanted to share my personal experience. Anyway, who knows, maybe I'll disappear again for months on end. No, it's just I have a lot of things to do right now, guys. So I do have some things in the work. I think I'm going to try to make it, to post more. If anyone has any recommendations, because that's mostly the thing. I'm like, people keep subscribing to me even though I haven't been on here for a while. But like, what do they want to see from me? Thank you for watching. Until the next time. Bye.